Hello, Bloomington. I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of February 28th. I've talked in the past that the City of Bloomington is working with civic, business, and political leaders from Minnesota and the United States government in a bid to host Expo 2027. In the United States, an expo is more commonly referred to as a World's Fair, to which you might ask, they still have those? And the answer is yes, they still have those. There's one underway right now in the United Arab Emirates. Quick quiz. When was the last time the United States hosted a World Expo? If you guessed 1984 in New Orleans, you are correct. It's been 40 years since the United States has hosted a World Expo. That's a long time for the U.S. to not host such an important economic and diplomatic event. Since expos first started in 1851, they have been tremendous opportunities for nations of the world to come together in a spirit of innovation and cooperation to highlight the best the world has to offer around a particular theme. The legacies of these events can be seen around the world. The Crystal Palace in London, the Eiffel Tower, the Space Needle in Seattle, the Riverwalk in San Antonio. And the legacies are not just in physical structures, but in innovation. Advancements in electricity, the Ferris wheel, animatronics, and the push-button telephone, all those things debuted for the first time at a World's Fair. So, in 2017, President Trump signed legislation that allowed the United States to again compete to host an expo. The U.S. and Minnesota made a bid in 2017 to host an expo in 2023, but unfortunately lost out to Argentina. But now, our federal government has once again approved Minnesota to be the host location to compete for an expo in 2027. This effort is being led by a group named Minnesota USA Expo. It's an organization independent of the City of Bloomington with its own board of directors, its own fundraising apparatus, and its own leadership. John Stanek, former CEO of Quest CenturyLink, is the president of the organization. And last week, the Minnesota group sent a delegation of more than 20 people to visit Expo 2020 Dubai, the World's Fair that's going on now. I was part of that delegation, and I want to share with you why we were there and what we learned. Bloomington has been identified as the host community in Minnesota if the United States is successful in getting Expo 2027. This would be a specialized expo, a smaller and shorter type of expo focused on the theme of health and well-being for all. Taking advantage of world-leading medical tech industries, health sciences education, and medical leadership such as the Mayo Clinic, Minnesota is the perfect place to showcase the future for healthy people and a healthy planet. Making sure that countries from around the world understand that the United States is competing to host a future expo was one of the main reasons the delegation went to Dubai. We visited dozens of pavilions there to introduce Minnesota and to start telling the world why Minnesota is the best location for Expo 2027. It's the first step in a campaign that will unfold over the next year or so before a decision is made by all of the participating countries. Honestly, it was encouraging to receive such a warm and welcoming reception from the representatives of so many different countries. The delegation was also there to learn. For the Minnesota team that will be responsible for the planning and execution of the event, learning about and actually seeing event operations and management was incredibly valuable, especially as that team starts to think about the details of what the programming will look like, how the site will be developed, and how the event will run. The potential Expo site that has been identified is in the South Loop, just to the east of Mall of America. Expo 2027 would be a 3-month event, mid-May through mid-August of 2027, to avoid conflicts with the State Fair. An event of this size and scope will take a lot of coordination and planning both locally and regionally. For Bloomington, as I said, we're part of the team, but we are not leading this effort. There is a professional organization of civic and business leaders who are responsible for the campaign, and they're getting a lot of support from our friends at the U.S. State Department, and we're also working very closely with our congressional leaders. Senator Amy Klobuchar has been leading the charge. Our Congressman, Representative Dean Phillips, has been very active moving legislation and providing support in the House of Representatives. Senator Tina Smith and Representative Tom Emmer and the rest of the Minnesota delegation have also been very, very supportive. We have a long way to go on this project. The final decision won't be made until next June in 2023, so there is still a lot of ground to cover. As I've said in the past, with the number of visitors expected from across the United States and across the globe, the event itself will be fantastic for the Bloomington hospitality industry. But I want to stress, that we are looking at this as a long-range economic development effort in Bloomington. The consensus is that this could be transformative, not only for Bloomington, but for the entire Twin Cities, for Minnesota, and ultimately the United States. That's why this effort has received such strong bipartisan support. Stay tuned. There is a lot more to come, and I promise to keep you updated every step of the way. On Monday night, I had the honor and great pleasure of introducing and recognizing some fantastic leaders in the Bloomington community, the 2022 Bloomington Pioneers and Changemakers honorees. If you don't know about the Bloomington Pioneers and Changemakers series, you should. It's a city-produced video series that features Black leaders who have a connection to and a significant influence on the city of Bloomington. The people featured in this series have worked to advance civil rights and remove barriers to equity in the fields of faith, education, law, housing, government, and more. This year, we recognized 7 incredible individuals: Blaine Kelly, Marvis Kilgore, Angia Lawrence Porter, Patricia Riley, Derek Rhodes, Pat Longs, and Luis Versalis. These individuals are representatives of the pioneers who have done so much to chart the path to where we are today, and they're change makers who are paving the way for future generations. The City of Bloomington YouTube channel and website includes the videos that have been produced and profiles of these leaders. I encourage you to check them out and be inspired. Finally today, are you looking for a summer job? Or perhaps you're a parent or a grandparent of someone looking for a summer job. If so, have I got a great opportunity for you. Bloomington's outstanding summer parks and recreation programs rely on outstanding staff to provide those programs. And there are great opportunities for hardworking, passionate people to work for Bloomington Park and Rec. We need facility attendants and leads, lifeguards, youth and inclusion program coordinators, counselors, instructors, golf services both inside and outside, Zamboni drivers, and much more. Opportunities abound. And the truth is, in this challenging job market, we need people to provide our summer programs. If you or someone you know is looking for a great summer job, a great summer experience, go to the Parks and Rec job page on the Bloomington website and take a look. We'd love to have you join the team. That will do it for today. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, stay safe, Bloomington.